Alright, today I'm going to show you guys how to install your M9 next generation life ionizer. You only need three things, which would basically be a crescent wrench, a pair of pliers, and some plumber's tape, which would also be known as Teflon tape. Alright, the first thing you're going to need is a hole in your sink that's about 1.5 inches to 1 3/8 diameter. And then with the piece provided, it comes in three parts. You're just going to want to take the silver piece, pop it onto the stem, and then put it in the hole, and underneath tighten the wing nut that's provided. Alright, the second thing you're going to need to do is underneath your sink there's going to be a hot water and a cold water valve. You're going to need to find your cold water valve and turn it off. And then on your sink, just turn your cold water on to make sure that that's the water you turned off. The second thing you're going to need to do is remove this metal tube that connects to the top of this valve. And after you do that, you take some plumber's tape or Teflon tape and you run it around these threads. And then with the cold water connect provided in your faucet kit or the one that you buy at the local store, you can screw that onto the top of that valve. And then from here you would screw your metal hose back onto the top. And keep in mind it'd be a little trickier underneath your sink, having to use wrenches and stuff like that. Alright, the third thing we're going to need to do is install the pre-filters. And after you have your cold water connect installed, there's a wing nut on the side that you unscrew off, and it has a little valve that you push your tubing onto. You're going to have to cut two pieces of tubing and push the tubing onto the end of this valve like so. Then after you push that tubing on, you replace the wing nut over the tubing. So in the end, you're left with something looking like this. Alright, after you have your first piece of tubing on, you'll take this piece, and on your pre-filters there's an in and an out specified. So you're going to want to go to your in. So we'll just plug this in. Alright, and then you take a longer piece of tubing and put it on your out. And this would be underneath your sink once again. And this would be coming up through your faucet hole. Alright, after it's all said and done for the under the sink portion, you should have your cold water connect installed and your tubing installed from there, which would go bring the flow of water through your pre-filters and up to your ionizer. Given the way you control this valve is right here with the Phillips or a flathead screwdriver. Alright, after the under the sink portion is finished, you should have your cold water connect installed along with the tubing provided, moving through your pre-filters, moving in and out specified, and then this will go into the bottom of your ionizer. And the way you control the cold water connect is through a flathead screwdriver through this spot right here. Alright, with the tubing from your cold water connect, you're going to take your ionizer and on the bottom of your ionizer there's going to be two plugs on the inlet and outlet valve. You can take your thumbnail or a butter knife and plug it on the little tab that's right there to release the plugs. And after you do that, you plug your cold water connect line into your inlet. And then cut about, I'd say, 1.5 feet to 1 foot of tubing for your outlet line, which goes into your sink in the suction cup that's in your drop bag. On the end, and plug the other end into the outlet. And then from there, you plug in your power. then last, screw on your spout. And then you're ready to go. The only thing you'll need to do is turn your cold water back on underneath your sink and adjust your cold water connect valve.